The stars had never seemed so quiet. The galaxy was at peace, or so they claimed, but peace was a veneer stretched over memory of war. Humans knew that. We had lived through it, clawed out of our cradle, and left fire in our wake. But we offered peace, not because we were weak, but because it was more terrifying when offered by the strong. Ambassador Leora Tran believed in that peace. And for it, she died. She had arrived on the Varnak homeworld under escort, flanked by 2 drones and a diplomatic vessel unarmed by design. It was a symbol. Earth trusted the Varnak. The Galactic Concord trusted the process. The Varnak welcomed her, smiled with her serpentine teeth, and promised that today would be a historic day. 2 hours later, Leora Tran was dead. The vessel that carried her exploded mid-orbit. Local authorities claimed reactor failure. They even offered condolences. But the data fragments Earth recovered told a different story. Heat signatures, timed electromagnetic spikes, a boarding attempt prior to detonation. Someone wanted her silenced, and they wanted it to look clean. When the call reached Earth, it arrived in static bursts. Ambassador down, deliberate act, prepare response. Then silence. In the Strategic Council's chamber aboard the orbital Bastion Arclight, the transmission looped in front of grim-faced leaders. No one raised their voice. No one wept. Humans had evolved past affirmative grief, but not past vengeance. Director Hale, head of Earth Defense Command, stood first. Begin protocol THRNCLD. No one objected. Thorn Shield was not a counterstrike. It was the accumulated wrath of a species that had learned to turn extinction into discipline. It was a plan that had waited quietly in the dark corners of human memory. A plan built not on impulse, but inevitability. Earth sent a response to the Concord, measured, diplomatic, void of rage. It requested a full investigation, requested temporary withdrawal of diplomatic envoys. All the proper words were used. But in the void between the stars, silence bloomed with purpose. Colonel Vance of the Naval Special Operations Corps received a packet at 4:32 Universal Time Coordinated. It contained a list: Varnak operatives, black site locations, comms intercepts, facial profiles. The message read, confirmed targets. Phase 1 greenlit. Phase 1 was not a declaration of war. It was war without the declaration. A dozen black ships detached from classified stations in deep orbit, their transponders dead. Each ship bore no emblem, no name. They moved like shadows through folded space. Their crews were not soldiers in the traditional sense. They were human silent teams, operatives trained to destabilize civilizations quietly, surgically, without noise. On Varnak Colony World Hexa 7, power grids failed in synchronized bursts. Communication arrays sent out ancient Earth-era pop songs before self-immolating. Storage vaults of antimatter went missing, replaced with salt and taunting human poetry etched into the walls. The Varnak screamed sabotage. Earth responded with calm. We're still investigating the tragic loss of our ambassador. The spokesperson said, expressionless. The Concord muttered about restraint. But the humans didn't slow down. Backdoor treaties Earth had signed with smaller species were quietly activated. Allies that had stayed neutral began redirecting supplies. Human fleets moved, not towards Varnak space, but away from core systems. To observers, it looked like retreat. In reality, it was clearance. The kind of clearance that precedes a kinetic rainstorm. In a mountain complex beneath Mars' surface, a man named Ray Anders was reactivated. Not a soldier anymore, but not a civilian either. He was classified Archangel, one of 10 humans designated as singular force amplifiers, weapons in human skin. His orders: infiltrate Varnak Prime, find the chain of command responsible, and break it. Anders didn't speak during briefing. He'd been thawed from stasis, memories still congealing. But the last memory was clear. He owed Leora Tran his life. When the team offered him a standard infiltration kit, he declined. No tech, he said. I want them to see my face. Meanwhile, across the galaxy, human diplomats continued their charade. Embassies issued statements. Committees met. The Varnak grew confident. They believed Earth had no evidence. They believed fear would hold humans back. They did not understand. Humans did not go to war for fun. But when cornered, they did not go to war like others. They dissected. They flanked timelines, leveraged culture, memory, psychology. The Varnak monitored starship counts, missile silos, drone production rates. But they didn't monitor digital art forms or human subspace poetry exchanges where phrases like Thorn's Shield Awakens began appearing in abstract code. By the fifth day, 27 Varnak outposts had experienced unexplained shutdowns. No one died. Not yet. This was the message. And then came the data drop. An anonymous package delivered to every Concord member, decrypted within seconds. Security footage, audio logs, orders from Varnak High Command referencing the ambassador's planned assassination. The final piece, a voice. The humans grow too bold. Their diplomat must not leave this world. The Concord went silent. Earth did not wait. Strike fleets emerged from dark space like blades unsheathed. They didn't hail. They didn't posture. Targeted kinetic strikes hit military installations, avoiding civilian centers with surgical precision. Varnak fleets scrambled, but by then, dozens of AI-controlled war platforms had taken up position across gravitational choke points. In the galactic Concord central chamber, chaos reigned. Species demanded explanations. Earth's envoy simply uploaded one line. You knew, and you watched. The Varnak begged for negotiation. Earth did not respond. Ray Anders arrived on Varnak Prime without disguise. He walked through fire-blackened halls, hand-wielding a weapon older than the current Varnak regime. He confronted generals in their own palaces. He did not kill indiscriminately. Only those responsible. Each death carried a name. By the time the Varnak sued for full surrender, Earth had already begun dismantling their empire, not through occupation, but by stripping their networks, seizing their currency algorithms, and collapsing their central AI node with virus based on a 21st century Earth meme. Leora Tran's name was etched into the orbital ring around Earth, visible from every major continent, not as a martyr, but a warning. Do not mistake Earth's silence for weakness. We are the species that survived ourselves. We are what comes after peace is broken. And when we come, we do not come to play fair. We come to end it. The skies above Varnak space shimmered, not with sunlight, but with displacement. Fold space ruptures, barely perceptible to primitive sensors, marked the arrival of something long buried. Humanity had held back its fury for decades, training it, disciplining it, sharpening it into a spear without a name. The name would come later. For now, it was only action. It began with the blockade. Not a traditional cordon, but a digital, gravitational, and quantum one. Thousands of small, unmanned satellites, each the size of a briefcase, burst into their programmed routes around key Varnak sectors. Most weren't armed. They didn't need to be. They disrupted comms, jammed trade signals, spoofed navigation, and worse, they broadcast one message on a silent frequency. We remember, Varnak commerce collapsed overnight. Their trade fleets couldn't navigate. Merchants screamed at councils. Outer worlds went dark. All while Earth's envoys stood quietly in Concord halls, still voicing hope for peace, still requesting accountability. Behind that facade, Earth's war machine surged. Fleet Admiral Selene Marsh sat aboard the dreadnought Tempest Warden, reviewing hollow feeds of Varnak tactical deployment. Their fleets were shifting erratically, trying to predict Earth's next move. They couldn't, because Earth wasn't coming through conventional space. We'll break them without touching their core, Solène said to her staff. I want their admirals isolated. I want their mid-command paralyzed. We are not here to kill civilians. We're here to take the warlord's teeth. Silent teams continued their work. On moons where the Varnak built black market fleets, entire shipyards disappeared in flashes of light, but the light was never seen, recorded only by sensor ghosts and then erased. On the planet Trenzer, three Varnak governors vanished within the same hour. In their place were data drives delivered to Concord investigators, detailing their roles in Ambassador Tran's assassination. The truth began to fracture the Varnak hierarchy. Some leaders denied everything. Others fled to neutral territories. A few begged her for private talks. Earth responded only once via coded transmission. There is no negotiation, only consequence. Meanwhile, Ray Anders moved like a ghost through Varnak Prime. His presence spread terror, not because he was loud or brutal, but because he was precise. Each act of sabotage, each execution, each system corruption carried signature finesse. The Varnak elite knew they were being hunted, and still could not find him. At the Concord special session, Earth revealed what Anders had recovered: raw files implicating Varnak's high executor and a network of Concord compromise officials. The room exploded. Species accused each other. Earth sat silent, watching chaos unravel those who had looked the other way. Then came Earth's shift from destabilization to domination. Operation Mirrorgate deployed, a hybrid offensive involving cyber warfare, socio-political influence ops, and real space intimidation strikes. Cultural chokeholds, false flag revolts. Human-created AI posing as Varnak dissidents began seeding unrest. In 30 days, Varnak's outer territories no longer obeyed Central Command. The humans hadn't just attacked military targets. They attacked the Varnak sense of order. And amid all this, Earth never called it war. Their communications remained eerily formal, always couched in diplomatic language. But in orbit around the Varnak shipyard world of Pelotros, reality arrived in steel. 7 Earth supercarriers decloaked. No warning, no demands. They unleashed precision orbital strikes, not on cities, but on military relay hubs, starport fuel depots, and data vaults. Thousands of Varnak military personnel surrendered. They expected capture. Instead, the humans transmitted coordinates and left. The Varnak returned to find every weapon system turned to slag and every command structure overwritten by Earth code. That was the second message. The first was we remember. The second was you are vulnerable. Ray Anders finally surfaced, not by mistake, but by design. He walked through Varnak Prime Central Square, broadcast live on every Varnak control feed. He did not carry a weapon. His voice echoed through loudspeakers hijacked by Earth's networks. Your leaders made a choice. They silenced the voice of peace. You feared humanity's restraint. Now you understand our reach. This is not conquest. It is justice. He vanished again. Concord panic rose. Earth hadn't claimed territory, hadn't issued ultimatums. Yet the Varnak were losing entire systems, not occupation, but to irrelevance. Their own colonies began to secede voluntarily, citing a lack of faith in Varnak leadership and support for Earth's methods. In human-controlled sectors, no flags flew, no parades were held, but aid flowed, systems stabilized, and warships waited just out of sight. The Varnak High Executor, cornered by planetary insurrections and internal betrayal, made a desperate move. He activated a banned AI weapon. The Starcore Reclaimer, a self-replicating orbital fortress designed to bring any civilization to heel. It activated successfully for exactly 4 minutes. Then it went silent, reprogrammed by a dormant Earth virus embedded in Varnak code months prior. When asked by a Concord ambassador how Earth knew, Director Hale responded simply, "We plan for arrogance." By the end of Section 2, Varnak society is unraveling. Their economy is ashes. Their military infrastructure is compromised. Their people no longer believe. Earth has yet to declare war, because war requires an opponent, and Earth had already moved on to ending a threat. The Varnak High Executor surrender arrived as a fragmented transmission, interrupted, disjointed, nearly drowned by civil unrest. It pleaded for ceasefire, promised justice, begged for time. But Earth did not reply, not with words. Silence, a silence that echoed louder than bombardments. It was the silence of a species holding judgment. In the Sol system, Earth's Strategic Council convened in a darkened chamber. Around them, projections of the Varnak collapse. Food shortages, mutiny, dead fleets drifting across trade lanes. Director Hale stood slowly, eyes hollow but resolute. Prepare final doctrine deployment. Judgment Protocol. Phase 3. This wasn't punishment. It was precedent. The galaxy had long seen humanity as dangerous, but predictable. Now it saw the truth. Humanity was the apex not because of its weapons, but because of its will. It did not seek to conquer, only to ensure none dared again. Ray Anders returned to Arclight Station. No one greeted him. His report, less than 3 words. Mission complete. Chain broken. He was offered reintegration. He declined. "There's one more thing," he said. "One more thing. Operation Deicide." Varnak's leadership had not merely killed an ambassador. They had wagered against humanity's restraint. That mistake needed to be written into the stars. A task force of Earth's elite command carriers arrived at Varnak Prime orbit, not to destroy, but to erase. They issued no warnings. Civilian evacuation data had already been leaked months prior, secretly coordinated by Earth's humanitarian AI networks. Most citizens had already fled, following subtle pathways planted in propaganda feeds, guided unknowingly by Earth. The assault began, not from orbit, but from the planet's own systems. Earth's code had slept within their infrastructure. With a single signal, it awakened. Planetary defense grids reversed polarity. Reactors overloaded. AI defense constructs turned inward. When Earth ships finally opened fire, they didn't target life. They targeted memory. Statues, monuments, archives. The symbols of Varnak pride. Everything that had birthed the ideology which murdered peace. In the Concord Hall, chaos turned to stillness. Earth transmitted a single feed. The executor's palace collapsing into ash. Then came the voice. It wasn't military. It wasn't political. It was the Aura Transfinal speech, recovered, reconstructed, and broadcast galaxy-wide. "I came not with demands, but with dreams. Not to tame, but to teach. If my death teaches you anything, let it be this. Humanity chooses peace, until peace is murdered. And then we choose truth. Across 1,000 systems, billions watched. And in that moment, the galaxy understood. Humanity did not rage like fire. It judged like gravity. The remnants of the Varnak regime fell, not in defiance, but in fear. Worlds surrendered. Their fleets self-scuttled. Their history rewritten by the survivors themselves, desperate to distance from what they once served. Earth did not annex. It did not occupy. It left, and left behind silence. From that silence arose new law. The Tran Accords, drafted not by Earth alone, but by over 60 species who had witnessed the consequences of treachery. A galactic compact, where ambassadorial attacks were no longer crimes, but declarations of suicide. Humanity signed last, quietly, without ceremony. They did not ask for monuments. They did not ask for gratitude. They asked only one thing. Remember what we are, not because you fear us, but because you owe it to peace. In deep space, the Tempest Warden shut down its weapons grid. Fleet Admiral Marsh issued a galaxy-wide shutdown of all hostilities. Every mission ended. Every operative recalled. Every warship turned back. And yet, one ship did not. Ray Anders, unofficially reinstated, departed alone. "No orders," he said. "Where are you going?" asked the comms officer. "Out there," he replied. "To listen. To make sure this never happens again." He disappeared into deep void, and in his wake, humanity didn't leave ashes. It left a lesson. One species provoked. One ambassador murdered. One reckoning absolute. This wasn't revenge. It was the galaxy's final warning.